This episode of Capes and Lunatics is brought to you by Tweaked Audio. Get awesome headphones, go to tweakedaudio.com and use the coupon code Southgate to get 30% off, free shipping, and a lifetime warranty. Or you can get there through the link on our website, southgatemediagroup.com.
Are you heartfully sorry for all of your sins? It does not matter, dear friend, for now you face your just punishments.
Welcome, dear penitent friends, to Just Punishments, Season 2, Episode 1, where we will be discussing Roadhouse Blues from the Netflix series The Punisher Season 2. While driving through Michigan, Frank stops for a beer at a roadside bar. Staying out of trouble has never been his strength. Our director this week is Jim Hannalan. Writers, of course, are Jerry Conway, John Romita Sr., giving us those great Marvel credits, and Steve Lightfoot. He gets our created by credit this week. He wrote this episode, gets his written by. Angela Lamanna is the executive story editor, and just so she can have someone to be executive over, Ken Christensen is our just regular old storyteller, or story editor. I am your host, Charlie the Professor Esser, and with me, as always, is my skinny rich friend.
It's Mozz.
Okay, Mozz. Welcome back to Just Punishments. And this is a nice show because I love this episode. It's a great way to start.
Great way to start the episode. Great way to start the season. Man, they really let you know they mean business.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, yes, by the end of it, yes. I mean, by the end of it, it just...
Well, no, even from the top, the very first scene, it seems like he shoots 3 kids. They look like kids.
Who does he shoot?
Well, at the very beginning, he's peeking...
Okay, yeah, okay. See, yes, that's right, because they do the old... See, I had actually forgotten about that, yes. So they open up with the scene that actually takes place a little bit later in the episode. So yes, they do open up hardcore on that point. See, you know what's funny is like I had forgotten about that because...
And you're like, wait a second, why start with that? That's the...
Well, what it is, I mean, it is pretty impressive. And you open it up and you've got, everyone's bloody and you can see something bad's happened. Got the scared girl in the car and just Frank just very nonchalantly takes out his Uzi and just calls it a day, It's pretty messed up, quite frankly.
Pun intended.
But then after that, we get to see how we got to this point. Because we go back and it's just this great little honky tonk and Ecorse. I realize this takes place in Ecorse, Michigan, because they go to Ecorse Hospital later. So that's
just like one thing I noticed right off the bat. As soon as he walks into that bar, I don't know, like, if who's responsible, like the set designer or the director or whatever. I don't know what's responsible for it, whether it's the subtle details or what it is. But that world seems more real than sort of the other Netflix shows. Like that bar felt like a real bar. And again, I can't point to why, but it just felt like a bar I've been to.
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, what the difference is that it is probably a real bar in Michigan.
Oh, that's fair.
I'd wager they shot this. I would wager, judging by the location, judging by the landscape, and you'll see this when we get to Ohio later this month or early next month, because me and Mozz are going to go see Phil Parrish at Bowling Green University on April 12th. No, you guys are staying.
You got school.
Yes, you actually do have school because we're leaving on the 12th, which is a Friday. Sorry. But we are, yes, but when we get there, you're going to see when you get into Ohio and Michigan as well, the landscape is so different than what you see here on the East Coast. I mean, it is just well, I mean, I like New Jersey too. I think New Jersey is a beautiful state, but No, it's just the way the land is.
Mm.
It's flatlands, and it's just a very different
Interesting.
look
I
to
can't
the
wait.
land. And so, looking at that, I would have to. I mean, this looks like it was definitely shot, if not in Ohio and Michigan, then at least somewhere up in Ontario, because that's like not too far and it's got a similar landscape. But really, Canada is actually even a little more hilly than you get when you get down to southeastern Michigan and Ohio. But and this is E-course area, which is I believe technically downriver. So I think they may still be in Wayne County. They're not actually out in Washington. I have to double check. It's been a long time since I figured out what county E-course was in. But I haven't lived there in like 20 years. So yeah, since I moved to New Jersey. So yeah, but anyway, yeah, but I would wager that's a real bar, and what you can say about bars in Michigan is they're a little airier, especially a nice honky tonk like that, which is you got the long bar and the stage. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if that wasn't Club Canton, now that I'm thinking back.
No, but I think that feeling extends for me throughout the whole episode. In every area they were in and every interaction there was, the people felt real. The extras felt real. It didn't seem like it was like a staged, stylized thing. It felt like a real place.
Yes. And like I said, I think that's because, I think they really... the Punisher is a very grounded character. Yes, he is in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but he is his own character in this. There's not going to be a lot of references to Captain America or I mean, he's met Daredevil, but even when he has Karen Page as an ally, but that's about the extent of it. He doesn't really cross those circles very much, because that's not his line of work, And what I found most fascinating about this is how you wonder about what he's doing. Is he still, because he has his battle band, and he clearly is set up. He is set up he is still a man ready to do battle. And I have to ask, is he still at war, or is he just unable to let go of these
now things? That you're mentioning it, what if he knew whatever the game that was being played there all along, and he was there specifically for the bag or the girl? That'd be far-fetched, I know, but I don't know.
Yeah, well, and the reason I don't think so is we do see him intending to
right, and like, she forgot about the bag too. Like, that was weird to me. No, because they find it at the end, and
okay, no, I know.
So, like, that was of such importance, but she didn't bother to try to grab it before they jetted out of that place, especially after everyone's already dead. It's kind of strange.
Well, I'm guessing. Well, actually, I do. This is I have seen episode 2, so I was actually going to say, this is like one of the few times I haven't watched the series I had. So I'm very much, I haven't finished the series yet. I've only watched the first 2 episodes. And what is important about the bag, she was already...
Oh, fair enough. Right. Of course. Yeah, duh.
Realize, I actually hadn't even noticed that she didn't have the bag with her. I actually hadn't noticed that when I watched this. So, or even the entire second episode, I didn't notice that she didn't have the bag with her. But that's, and I find this... that character, Rachel, she is... such an unlikely.
I don't know. See, what I appreciated was that no matter how dangerous the situation was or how desperate you would imagine someone in her situation to feel and to respond in that character, she doesn't. She's constantly playing angles, never afraid.
Oh, yeah.
Even when she's afraid, she's got a plan, and that's admirable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I absolutely...
She never cowered to, a Punisher's help. She's like always was wary and questioning of his motives. She's a smart girl.
Yeah, I guess, what it is I really...
but we don't know what the backstory is. All we know is, at this point, the only judgment I can make on it is how she reacts to stressful situations. And she's a sly dog.
Well, I guess on some level it's the you know I mean, she's clearly, yeah, she's still trying to make her bones on this deal, but she already knows. And I guess here's what I'll say: is she knows the people that she was working with have clearly already
Mm-hmm.
all died. So she's coming into this knowing that everyone's getting their throat slit
Right.
over this thing, and yet she's still trying to
I
make the
mean, but
bank on
like,
it.
I don't know. I feel like that's
You know.
that's what you should. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
yeah.
But I admire it.
Well, I
Is
mean,
all
I
I'm
guess
saying.
it's
That
her bread and
takes
butter, but
gumption.
and I guess maybe she's just cool with people getting their
Well, I
throats slit
mean, you're
over
in that
specifics.
side of the business, You're in the black market, It's like you made your peace with these eventualities a long time ago, I imagine.
Yeah. But in that case, I guess I would have preferred if she if she was a little more
True.
prepared for
True.
the
Well, I mean,
for the
she's
guys
like, that's her gumption meeting her youth, It'll work itself out.
Yes, although it makes for an interesting point because we have our antagonist in this episode. What's his name? I believe he goes by the name. John Pilgrim, played by Josh Stewart, who is clearly our hyper religious
Mhm.
bad guy. And what I find fascinating about him in this is that he is, he makes this point about providence. When the gangster who he's torturing gets the call from Rachel, and he says, this is providence. I didn't even know she was there. She was elusive, but now the Lord has brought her to me. But at the same time, yeah, the Lord brought her to you, but the Lord is also bringing the Punisher to you. And what you think is providence, maybe not the providence.
Right, and I guess he does mean it in a very strict definition, right? Because he is very religious, so he probably means it in that way. I mean, I guess the way I took, and yeah, like I didn't take into account the religious factors. When I read into that, I just thought to myself, it's like luck is only opportunity meeting preparation. So providence, I guess, is just saying, hey, there's a lifeline, or rather to think of it this way, you just notice the way the world moves, as if all of moving humanity and time itself is just like an ocean. And if you can see the waves, you can predict where they're going to fall. So in that sense, providence is merely just being that good of a judge of everything else, that you're in the right place more often than not.
But I suppose the counter argument in that is that he is
that's a matter of relativity, no?
Well, he's running afoul of the Punisher.
That's not in that. But yeah, I don't think. Yeah, even though he saw the footage, he has no idea what he's dealing with.
See, that's my. Well, no, exactly. Yeah. This is the thing. He is essentially he is assuming he is God's favorite right hand. And what it is he assumes God has brought this to him to reward him for his devotion. In fact, this is just as likely this is God's punishment.
This is interesting. I'm gonna see. I'm very interested to see how they played this, like how they make him reconcile his evilness with his delusions of piety.
Well, big shock here. A lot of people with delusions of piety have no problem with their own evil.
No. But I mean, from the perspective of someone who truly, at least on the onset, feels like he believes it,
Well, yeah. But again, it is, and this is the thing with a guy like him. And, when you are a person who uses God to justify your violence, there is no crime so heinous that God does not approve in your mind. So it's like, it doesn't matter. He doesn't, what is, and to put it to you simply, when the Punisher does bring the full wrath of God down upon him, I'm sure he is going to feel, I am being tested as Job was tested now, and I shall, I will hold on to my things. And it's like, you know what, dude, that's fine, but that's not the end of this story. And and like I said, it is because it is, and this is my point, is it is
Mm.
providence.
Mm.
It is providence that this happens to be the bar that, Frank decides to go. It's providence that he happens to hit it off
Mm.
with the bartender after he, breaks the finger of a jerky drummer. And it's providence that he goes and hooks up with her. And then it's providence that as he's intending to drive away, he decides, okay,
Yeah.
I'll go back. And now he's been brought back. And he's been tempted with that thing that he truly dreams of on some level, which is that domesticity and that moment to be with, a girl
Yeah.
and a child, and to have that life that was ripped from him.
Yeah.
I mean, that is this, and then to have it be a situation in which he thought maybe he could have it.
Do you
and
think
then,
he allowed
and then
himself
for
that luxury?
Providence to rip it away from him? Well, I think he almost thought about it. And you know what? Here's the thing, and this is what I get back to about what's he doing with that van. Is he still on a mission? Because he's
or is he just in the wind,
there.
Bruce Banner style?
Yeah, well, exactly. Is he just prepared in case something goes wrong? But right now, his idea is, I'm just going to keep moving
until I find some trouble, essentially, right?
Well, maybe, and certainly trouble.
I'm sure that's the subliminal impulse,
Yeah, well, it's that's always the question with a guy like Frank is, like I said, would he let himself be happy, or would
what does that even mean to him?
Find an excuse. Well, and this is maybe even a statement to be made. It's like, when the guy is bothering the bartendress, I mean, yeah, he's gonna be chivalrous, and he's not trying to pick a fight. But when the fight comes, he's very quick to just show the guy how.
And can I pause there for 1 second to make like a side comment? Every bartender that I've known, every female bartender that I've known, is much better at dealing with that character than she was. That's I don't know. That just doesn't seem like that's how you deal with that guy. She could have been a way more clever person and shot an insult at him or something. That would sort of speak to her experience as a bartender, to be, snappy and witty and not immediately cower from the guy, which sort of elicits that sort of, douchey guy's predatory impulses.
Well, I'm guessing since Steve, what was his name? Steve Lightfoot wrote this episode. I'm guessing perhaps Steve Lightfoot has never been a female bartender. Yeah. So there you go. And yeah, I think that's a very good point. I think she tried to.
Or maybe they were just trying to show us that she was tired.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long night and all this kind of stuff. There's lots of ways you can play it.
No, tired in general, like in life, and in her profession.
Yeah. Well, that's. I am sure single mom bartender was not like.
And nor does that sound easy.
No, it does not sound easy. Though, for what it's worth, she seems to be doing well for it. It seems like it's a really good bar, so she's probably making nice tips. It's an okay house.
Hey, I mean, like Shooter Jennings is a decent name.
Yeah.
The guy playing music in the show.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was a decent band.
It's kind of nice to see, like, after all the hoopla on every performance on Luke Cage. It's cool to see some other shows adopting that and some other bands wanting to be on the show too.
Oh, yes. Well, if you can have a live music venue, you might as well use that for live music, If you got a scene where you get to have a band, you're probably going to go look for a good band to put in it, I know I would. I mean, heck, what's the point if not to have a band? And yeah, I mean, in general, it's an interesting take we get on this, and we do get this, like I said, this very nice quality for Frank. And this is what's interesting, but is how quickly Frank just lets himself go. You know, how quickly he just, like within the night. And honestly, at first I thought this was supposed to be like over like several nights.
Yeah, 5 weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, because they show him, like, they cut back to them having sex like 8 times. I'm like, wow, man. And then I just go, anyway, are they just having sex 8 times in one night? Do they keep on breaking and talking and then having more sex? Or is this, they're just cutting you into that one scene of sex and then all of the conversations that they had?
I guess it's sort of like they're both the same. They sort of fetishize misery in a sense. And every time, they share a bit of pain about themselves, they get really turned on.
Yeah, but then like I said, and he immediately gives it up. And Frank, and he really, really, and this is what I'm saying. It's like he has allowed himself to be sucked into this, and you can see that he after everything that he was still driving out of town when he just decides. The heck with it.
And maybe that's the reason he did go back, because maybe he was trying to find comfort in the happiness. Why am I always running? This is kind of right.
Well, exactly. And it is that providence, as we said. The providence opens it up for him, and then the providence steals it right back away. And
so maybe it's like at a certain point you got to say, like, it's not even his fault. It's not his choice. He has no choice. The universe needs dung beetles cleaning out the dung, don't they? I mean, don't we?
Yeah. Well, he is a fictional character.
Right. But even still, it's like. When I think about like what actually makes him happy, would he be happy with a sedentary life? I don't think he would. So from that perspective, why force him to be unhappy to fit the mold of, it's like there are bad guys in the world. Like just because he happened upon this town to stumble upon this, scene of bad things happening, he can fix that. But if he had chosen to stay here and this same bad thing was happening somewhere else, he wouldn't be able to fix it. So where is he more useful, and what is really right? Should we expect him to seek the normal happiness, or should we let him be free and do what he was born to do, a dog off his leash, as the preacher man put it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is that is the question. But there's this great, one of my favorite films is with Arnold. It's The Last Action Hero with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and it is. Honestly, that film ruined me for almost every film I ever saw, because there's this scene in it where Arnold Schwarzenegger's character, and the basic premise is that Arnold Schwarzenegger's character, he's your basic superhero cop. Goes through all of these, dozens and dozens of sequels, but it's his real life. And he goes into this place where he suddenly realizes, when he comes out into the real world and realizes that his whole life has just been fiction, and then realizes that not only has he endured so many horrifying things, but that this was someone's entertainment, he makes this statement into the, always sticks with me. He says, sure, throw his kid off a building, give him nightmares for the rest of his life. What does it matter? He's just a fictional character, And in many ways, that's kind of how I feel about poor Frank here. It's like, I think Frank, given the chance, might like to actually go fly a kite and eat a sandwich in the park and play with a kid and just live a real quiet life. But I know at the same time there's this complexity to it where even if he was just the guy coming back from Afghanistan or Iraq, he would still be this guy on edge.
You can't unbake a croissant. At a certain point, you have to come to terms with where you are and come to terms with your mortality and make peace with the time you have left and manage the best you can. The reaching for an ideal that you lost the road to years ago is foolhardy. No?
Well, yeah, I mean, Possibly, or it's just, what he, it's this thing where it's something, it's one of these things where there's always that dream
Right.
job you have where, oh, if only I could be, if only I could write for Marvel Comics, wouldn't that be wonderful? But then if I ever got the job writing for Marvel Comics, I might spend my whole life worrying about the fact that I have to write these comic books for Marvel, and it would be my dream job on so many levels. But at the same time, the reality of it probably would never be as wonderful as what you hope it would be. And for him, it's like he dreams of that day that he could just be, a guy and live a life. But at the same time, there's a part of him that feels like
because I don't think it's like the Joker says, like a dog chasing a car. I wouldn't know what to do with one if I caught it, I think he just needs a placeholder goal to run towards. And I think he's been turned into the kind of person, and, it would take too much effort to reverse it or whatever. He is who he is, where he needs to be running towards something like a shark. He needs to be swimming to live. Mm-hmm. He needs to be goal-oriented in doing something. I don't think, and doing something that matters in an immediate sense.
Yeah. And certainly he does. Certainly he does. And when we find ourselves in this moment when he goes to the bar to see his girl and to maybe get one more night of something that has been denied him, and to just feel human for a minute, and then all of a sudden it all goes.
I love how he says to her too, he goes, "My problems will never come to your door, I promise."
Yeah, well, well, but not for nothing, it wasn't his problem.
Yeah.
It wasn't his problem.
But it didn't need to be either.
Coming to his door. Yeah. Well, I mean, it comes down to that question only because of Providence. Again, it's only because the grand writer in the sky decided that this, and this is what I always say, man. It always just shocks me that people pick.
Oh my God!
In these comic book universes, and it's like, because first off, that all things being equal, there are Punishers out there. There's also guys who shoot laser beams out of their face, and you're going to go pick a fight on the assumption you're not one of these guys who can shoot a laser beam out of your face. And I'm guessing you can't shoot. I mean, if you're the guy who shoots laser beams out of your face, if you're Man Mountain Marco and you are a guy who's mobbed up and powerful and actually got superhuman strength, maybe you pick a lot of fights in bars, But the fact of the matter is, if you're not that guy, I do not know why you're picking a fight in a bar, because it's like, man, of course people pick fights in bars in the real world.
Right. I never understand that either.
It's like, people, you don't know what that guy is doing. You don't know who that guy is. He could be.
And also, again, it goes back to what really makes you happy. People who fight at bars, it's like you're really unhappy with yourself and you're really just trying to punish yourself. That's truly what it is, I think.
Yeah. And, maybe that's why he's the Punisher.
Indeed.
Himself. And he goes back one more time just hoping he can have that little bit of joy, even though this is what happens, This is what always happens. And it ends poor. And man, I really thought someone was going to survive that. I'm guessing people got out. But I mean, this is big.
Yeah.
Really, this is a major shootout in a
and it's like an episode 9 shootout.
Yeah. But I mean, to me, it's like this should be major. I mean, honestly, here's what I'll say: the fact that just because I have seen the second episode, you would have thought this would have been
interesting.
Than it winds up being, at least as far as we know. But this is like post night shootout, and yeah, because like I said, I'm sure some people got out, I'm sure there's a back door to that bar, and some people got out, and then how long it took the cops to get there, man. I mean, I know Detroit's a violent place, but this is actually Ecorse, and
Yeah.
still, it's not like we get these kind of shootouts every day.
Well, I mean, like, there was political pressure to just call it a gangland turf war and just to sweep it under the rug. And the guy didn't seem too happy about it. So, I mean, I will say, I thought the fight, the whole barroom, right from the time he gets into the bathroom to the time he's just running around grunting and killing people, it was so well done. Everything looked like a real fight.
Oh yeah, this is like some They Live level,
right? And the flow of it, the rhythm of the fight as it moved was so natural.
Oh yeah, and oh man, like I said, I really was shocked they killed poor.
Yeah.
I really thought he was gonna at least get out of that, man. I thought he might even be like
a
cool side character, but. He doesn't even have to be a sidekick. He just has to be, a guy that's like, man, sort of like what the
Sugar.
The guy with the well, like Sugar. Well, actually, I was going to go with the guy who ran the business.
Oh, right.
Yeah, where there was a place for Frank to connect with, like he could find people to connect with, and this one not so much, Yeah, but they do get Beth to the hospital, so that's good. And she's saying get to my kid, take care of my kid, make sure my kid's okay. And then
they've still got to get this little girl to safety.
Yeah. Well, it is.
Yeah, and he does seem consumed by the bloodlust, too, because she says to him, there's probably going to be more coming. And his response is, I hope so. I was like, oh, man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, not for nothing. It makes them easier to shoot.
That's true. That's true.
It's when they come out. That's when, like at the start, when they put right in front of it, it's like, oh, well, that's convenient.
Well, fine, make it easy.
That's much more convenient. Yeah, exactly. Okay, and I think that's everything that happened in this episode.
No, I was just super impressed by what a powerful gut punch of a start this was.
Yeah, it is. It is wonderful. It is strong, and we got some good stuff.
Oh, one thing. What is going on with that stupid mask? They're in a hospital. Why does he have a supervillain mask on? What was that?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. I wasn't sure.
Okay, because the only logical, and even that is such a gigantic stretch, I would punch myself for believing it, was that maybe she had a marker in her hand and she drew that on his face. That's the only logical reason I could come up with why doctors would affix this on a guy whose face probably looks like this.
Well, I mean, the short answer is, and I don't know because I've seen the second episode, and we get a little bit more about.
I hope there's a good explanation because that really pissed me off.
Well, they don't really discuss it. I mean, I think the mask was. I mean, there was one of two things. One is, I actually get the feeling from stuff that's hinted at in the second episode that he made the mask. That's his sort of outward expression of his inner.
I might be okay with that.
That's only a guess. They don't reveal what happened with that. And at first I thought, that his mask when he was in a coma.
But why make it look cool?
Yeah, well, I mean, but then I get the feeling, like I said, I think that maybe the mask was at, like, part of me wonders if that was at first, like, maybe part of his, like, a bandage kind of thing.
No.
To hold his face in place, basically.
No, because those lines are way too specific. They're way too intentful, and they're way too good.
Mm-hmm. No.
Yeah, it's way too artistic to have.
I just don't know if that was.
Yeah, no, that's the.
Like I said, I get the feeling he drew that out because There's clearly something with him in the mask in the second episode that you'll see.
Yeah, no. If that's the only explanation, I think I might be okay with.
Yeah, so we'll have to see, because like I said, I've only seen the second episode, but we do get a little bit about what's going on with Billy and Didani and everyone from the old episode. Everyone from last season, we get a nice little catch up with all of them.
Right on.
We'll talk about that next week. Listen for it, kids. In the meantime, Mozz, if people would like to reach out to you, how can they find you?
Oh, they can email me at mozzmanzor@gmail.com or find me on Facebook under Mozz Manzor. That's MOZZMANZOOR.
And, of course, you can always write to me in that old-fashioned email way the way our Mozz Impossible and say that's superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, at the gmail.com. And, of course, you can always follow me on the Twitters as I live tweet the Orville and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which me and Mozz will be reviewing when it comes back. And lots of other things at Charlie Esser. That's CHARLIESSER. Look for the two E's in the middle. Quality. There we go. Sorry, I cut you off, Mozz. Anyway, you have endured your just punishment for this. Go forth and sin no more. But when you do, and you know you will, return for more just punishment. Good night.